Hello again, and welcome back to Nathan Plays Super Metroid. I'm Nathan, and this, as always, is Super Metroid. Joining me today are, once again, Bentley the Yorkie dog, who's kind of staring at me as though I should be having more fun with him at the moment, as well as Gideon Cat, who I'm sure is around here somewhere. Haven't spotted him at the moment. When last we recorded, we had just popped back up to Brinstar in order to get the power bombs, and from here we could actually head up the elevator and get right back to the ship, but we are going to go back down again into Norfair for some more things that the power bombs have enabled us to get. So let's get to it. I don't believe I mentioned this earlier, but if you decide to take the game on your own, a quick tip in this one in particular is that if you're hunting for secrets, the save rooms, map rooms, and charge rooms, they all have a similar sort of look to them. None of them ever have power-ups in them. It's just a sort of rule. There's not secrets in them ever. So that cuts down on your time a little bit. Now we can backtrack by opening that door with the power bomb and head back into the room of horror. Last time I promised you, well, I didn't promise, I said you might get to see me fall into those plant things if I mistime a jump or something. And well, you know what? Why don't I just show you? Ah! It's awful. Gross. There we go. Someone is trying to call me from Quebec, Canada, and I'm going to ignore it. So back down we go. Let's shoot downwards so we don't take any damage from these things as we go. We're still going to come back to that one room on the left because we don't quite have all the tools we need to get through it. Little run and jump there. And pass back through Meridia. One more time. It's kind of soothing. Too bad there's no fish. I always did enjoy places with those big wraparound aquariums. There's a casino in Winnipeg that we would go to sometimes, not to gamble necessarily, but because they have a big aquarium hallway and you could just kind of hang out there and be mesmerized by the fish. Something about a fish swimming over top of your head that's just fascinating. So now we're back down here, and if you recall earlier, we went down this hallway to get the ice beam, but there were some power bomb blocks at the end of it that we couldn't do anything about. Well, now we can. Tum-de-tum. Lets us drop down to this passage down here. Kind of neat floorways there, little firebugs following us around. Use my special Jedi Super Metroid trick, which is just to shoot like crazy and hope something wanders into the beam. It's a viable strategy. It works. Whoop, no. Okay, all of these platforms want to break away on you right away, which is very annoying, but there is a... it's up here somewhere. Nope. Oh, anyway, there is a missile in the room, I think, at the top of it somewhere. If I was doing a 100% run, I would make a bigger deal of going back to get it, but I'm not going to. Another little part that you can speed run your way through. Speed boots, whatever they're called. I forget the names already. We only just got them, and it's already gone. And here we have a couple of options. Could head up. Don't feel like doing that. We're going to go down. Into... Oh, well, that is some alarming music. Means it's a boss battle, but... Well, there's spikes there. That's not him. Ah! Hello. It's this thing. Don't know what it's called. But similar to Kraid, this guy's job is to try and is going to need to be shot in the mouth. And you'll notice he's not changing color or anything. There's not really an appreciable way of knowing that I'm doing damage, except that he's backing up. If I let him have his druthers, he'd be pushing me backwards toward the spike wall there and to my inevitable doom. But I'm not going to do that. You can use missiles. You can use your super missiles. It's a little trickier when he shoots there. I'm gonna save my missiles today because the charge shot with Spazer works just fine. And when he rattles his arms a couple of times there, you know he's gonna shoot, so you just have to be ready for that. Oh shoot! And as soon as you'll notice pretty quickly, as soon as you stop doing damage, you lose ground very quickly as he marches toward you. You can see the platform breaking beneath him. We're just about there, and oh ho ho ho! To help you there. I mean, tip my hand. Ooh, that's... Get that checked out now. See the bubbles marching across the bottom of the screen there? Something's up here. Okay, well, I can't go that way. I guess maybe something will have opened up on this side. Uh-oh. Music's starting up again. What do we do? What do we do? I'm ready. I'm ready. Whoa. Oh. Well, he had a little bit of fight left in him, but it wasn't enough. Yes, that is that sub-boss encounter there. The spikes actually can't damage you at all when they fly at you like that, which is nice. And if you take a running leap and time it just so, you don't have to bother with those finicky jumps there. I always kind of enjoyed that one, even though it's a little bit tedious to kind of do the jump and shoot over and over and over. Oh, I should have grabbed the map room while I was there. Oh well. These are nice. As far as the monster pipes go, they will split. You saw earlier, they'll split into 5 monsters, which really is efficient if you're just trying to gather your resources back. Speeds things along quite nicely. Well, I happen to know we can't get anything done in that direction, so we're just going to have to hop off the side and trust fate. Whoa, no! It was a bad choice. It was a poor life choice. Now, once again, for those of you who are good with wall jumps, this really isn't an insurmountable challenge, but the idea is that you're supposed to be stuck down here for at least a moment. First, we're going to take a little detour. We can get through this quickly as possible for very little reward. It's 1 bug at first, I think, and then if you hit them just when they split, you can freeze them all and grab all the power-ups really quickly. Run all the way down here for a missile power-up, and I believe that's everything that's here. Ooh. But it wasn't that hard to get. Those. We're going to try not to burn our toesies on the way back out. I like these kind of curvy floors there. You don't see them too often in the game. It's mostly angles, and here at least they decided to mess around with the architecture a little bit. So we're working our way down, and we end up in this place. Well, there's debris all over the place, but it's mostly power bombable. So let's do that. Get it out of the way there. And as well as this way. Now this is a different thing. If you notice there, those are speed boost blocks, so let's give ourselves a running start. And jump. And that's how you get across that room. If you failed the jump, there's a whole bunch of floating platforms along the bottom that'll get you back to where you can try doing the launch again. Well, what's in here? Grappling beam. Yes, at long last, our dreams of becoming wrestlers have been realized. We can now grapple with the best of them. The grapple beam opens up your gun like the missile attachment and shoots sort of an electric beam like that. It's kind of neat. And they gave you these ledges. And, oh, our first chance to try it out. That's those blocks that we've been seeing around. This is what we've been waiting for. Now, the first thing it does is pull you right up to it and kind of swing you back and forth automatically. Using up and down, you can adjust the length to full out or right in. And then you sort of left and right on the pad accordingly. And let go when the time is right. The grapple beam also does a tiny little bit of damage. It can be used to open the blue doors. And if you hit floating power-ups with it, it'll grab them for you. So that's kind of nice. Now you get a few more chances in kind of a non-threatening way to be able to practice with it. So there's a water pit, for instance, and then you have to crawl back out of. If you fail, of course. And then there's more of these guys, and you can sort of do this, and then you also have to learn, jump and grab it. So they're teaching you a little bit about the range of it, some of the potential applications. Here's more water with so the stakes are getting a little bit higher as we go, and try using this thing more and more. Oops. Ugh. Water still messes us up pretty badly. Good idea to hold down the L and R button, and an easy way to traverse some of the longer sections of grapple beams is to pull yourself right in. Instead of swinging all the way, you just get right up there, and then you just let go briefly and hit the grapple button right away. And you can just kind of work your way along something like that without having to worry too much about timing. Here we have a green one-way door, so that means a super missile is going to be needed to pop it open. And hey presto, we're back at the top of the chasm. Now, there's one or two more things we might try getting around here. First of all, this is a lesser-known trick that you'll have to discover later on, but you can always try it now. These, with the kind of open rib cage on the bottom, can be grappled onto as well. See there. In the room, the very large room where we took the great big flying leap to get across, there are a couple of those things zooming back and forth. It's quite challenging to use them. They do lead to a secret, but it's just like another missile power-up, so it's not usually something I go out of my way for. That one's got power bombs, though, so this one's worthwhile. We could save our game there if we wanted to, but we're good for now. Not worried. Not concerned. No getting around this one. This time you do have to make the jumps. However, way down at this end, you remember the very long chain of grapple beam points that we saw. Let's see what's at the other end of it. Another energy tank. Lovely. Is there anything else here? Don't think so. Okay, we're gonna say no. Why is there a dot here? Don't remember. Well. We may have to come back to it. The silver door has turned blue, indicating that we can leave. Huzzah. So now that we have the grapple beam, we have quite a number of options. I'm going to be working my way back up to the ship and over to the wrecked ship. And I'm going to go kind of in a roundabout way to get there, because we can now start with the power bomb and grapple beam. We can scoop up quite a lot of power-ups along the way. So we'll be doing a lot of that. Just kind of rip through here. No time for love, Dr. Jones. Oh, wait, I think this one... Energy recharge. This is once again, curse of the locker combination. I get very confused easily. And I don't remember if this is productive or not. I don't think it is. Nope, we want to go a little bit further. Okay. This would lead us up to a large chamber that brings us back to the central column here in Norfair, like where the elevator comes down. We're not going to go there just yet. We could get that missile power up that's on the other side of the... But that's one lousy missile power. We actually want to go this way to get a much better thing. We'll get missile power-ups also. And we do need them overall, but... This one you have to be a little bit careful because there's those guys at the bottom that want to snatch you and drag you into the lava, which is worse than normal snatching. Lava snatching. That sounds terrible. I'm not going to say it anymore. And this spits us back out in... You might remember way back when we came across just the top of this chamber. Again, at the bottom of this is a place we're going to have to come back to much later on. But for now, let's do this loop again. This should look a little bit familiar. Only this time we now have the option to freeze these things if we feel like it. And we do, because it's fun. Once again, I'll try and... It's always important to me, for some reason, that I do this part in a reasonably graceful fashion. It's a bunch of little jumps, and it just kind of looks cool when you can get it right. Take out the seahorsemen. Of course, we still have the option of just jumping into them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We didn't even go in here last time. Had we gone in here the last time... Oh, okay, first of all, we would have just fallen off the ledge. This is why me and speedrunning are not compatible, by the way. Okay, had we gone in here the last time, he said more forcefully, we would have done this little section of floaty platforms, and we would have been able to open that and grab this, and that would have been about as far as we were able to go, because the next part requires the grapple beam that we just picked up. And there. Again, I'm sure there's some sort of clever way that you can circumnavigate all of this, but we didn't. It looks like a lizard thing, maybe kind of a dolphin carrying a W. What could that be? Wave beam. The wave beam adds an attractive wavy pattern to your shots. But what else? Again, it's worth noting that you can go through and have any combination of these, none at all, or you can just do charge and wave, which looks kind of like that. Like you're shooting little health power-ups for some reason. Or you could just do wave and spazer and not be able to charge. Also kind of cool. We're going to turn everything on. For now. We may turn ice off later on. Easier way to get back out of here. There. I knew some of those were collapsible. We'll bother this thing to get some of our health back from running around on the spikes like a bunch of fools. There we go. The nifty thing about the wave beam is where your previous shots stopped at solid objects such as walls and floors, these go through, which also makes it possible to reopen the one-way gates. I suppose had we not fallen down back there, I could have demonstrated. I believe it also makes the gun slightly more powerful, which is great. It's just a really useful thing to be able to do. Just shoot right through the walls there and take everything out before you even have to get close to it. Now we can pop across to this corner, which we have not done before. And grab a missile power-up. But is that the only thing here? Turns out no. Now I believe the proper way to do this, I'm hoping I don't get this right, is to freeze that monster just so on the other side that you can, you know, morph ball and get off. There we go. But if you jump and you morph ball just in time, you can actually squeeze into the hole before you fall too far. Then you end up in this place. We can also freeze the seahorsemen, hopefully before they do too much damage. This leads us to our first reserve tank, as well as that missile power-up you see down there. That's a clever one. See, you think often that the dots only show one power-up, and generally they do, but there's a couple points in the game where they trick you and they show two. Now I'm hoping I can get out of here without dying. I'll talk about the reserve tank in just a moment when I'm kind of out of this catastrophe that I've gotten myself into. There we go. Reserve tanks are a lot like energy tanks. You can see that on the top next to my energy 50, it now has a faint blue auto thing. And were I to pause the game, and I will, we now have a new section above our beams for reserve tank supply mode. You can switch between auto and manual. And what these will do is when your regular energy tanks are full, which mine are not right now, I'm at mostly full and 46. When you're full, you can keep picking up health power-ups to fill up the reserve tank up to 100 each. There are 4 of them scattered throughout the game. They're optional, of course. And they function as a sort of fail-safe. If you run out of all your other energy tanks and you have it on auto, they'll kick in and they'll refill up to 4 or as many reserve tanks as you have, just giving you a little bit of an extra edge. But you have to keep them full separately from the other energy tanks. Or as you saw in the start screen, you can just set it back to... You can set it to manual, and then it's up to you to remember to pause the game, run over there, and activate them before you die. Let's grab that. Okay, let's go this way. I may have mentioned earlier that, yeah, there's some backtracking in the game, but as you can see, I mean, you get, especially with the greater beams and things like that, you get just a lot stronger as you go, so it's pretty much a breeze to go through some of these areas. Do I need, can I grab this, I wonder? Ah, it's green. Never mind. 1 missile power-up. I'm not going all the way around for that. Pointless. There are, in total, I want to say 45 of the super missiles. I could be wrong about that. I probably shouldn't be rattling off statistics if I don't know them for sure. I think 45 power bombs and 225 total missiles that you can carry, I think. And as I've said many times, it is really not necessary to have all of them to be able to complete the game. But there is a certain kind of fun to going for a 100% run. Whether you try to do it by yourself and meticulously sweep every single room, or you just grab a map like I do and start checking things off. Our way back up. Our newfound... Oh, maybe... No, I still got it. Our newfound... Grapple Beam. Grapple Beam is the word I was looking for. Grappling for. Haha. Allows us to finally go into this room and see what's up in here. This, the power-up at the end of this room is completely optional, but super helpful if you are hunting for things. Now, these things are interesting. They float around. You can see they kind of glow. And for each one that you actually destroy, you can leave them frozen, but if you destroy them, you'll notice the light level darkens noticeably in the room to the point of almost total darkness, at least for the blocks you're trying to stand on. The spikes are still very much in evidence. You have to be careful. They don't pop up that often in the game, but when they do, you need to kind of ration, decide which ones are really in your way and which ones not. So as you can see, I'm just sort of holding, oops, ooh. There we go. I'm just kind of holding forward. Oh boy. And doing a marvelous job here. Just wonderful. Hold it forward and then just let go and hit it again. You don't really have to worry about momentum too much because you'll launch a little bit when you let go. It's quite a disastrous performance. So they set you up with a little bit of an interesting room here, and the power up, the item music is playing, so we know something good is here. Now, what could this be? Is it a lightsaber? Maybe. Is it an LED desk decoration? Possibly. Is it an X-ray scope? Definitely. What does the X-ray scope do? Cuts down your searching time by a great margin. You switch to X-ray scope up in the top corner there. And when you hold down the A button, as opposed to, you won't run anymore, but now you get this fancy beam with which you can sweep the room and see all the secrets. So now I know, for instance, that block is bombable, and I can check and say, okay, these are all... Anything that disappears is something you're going to go behind. It's not really real, or sort of illusory, I suppose. And then, oh, there's a nice passage right in there. Let's try it. So we'll bomb and bomb, launch ourselves up there. Oh, look at that. Here we are, and we can just walk right out. The X-ray scope did not lie. So this is the thing that, if you know where things are, it's fine. You don't need it, and sometimes I don't get it. But if you don't know where things are, or you just want to be sure, then it's time to grab that, and that saves you the trouble of having to bomb everything and shoot everything. However, there are 1 or 2 points in the game where there is a secret that does not show up on there. So you do still have to do a bit of experimentation if you're really stuck. And there's one area in particular that is quite nasty, and I will show it to you much later on. And I've got it. Oh, that's right. Let's do one of those. Okay, instead of going up, we're going to actually go back this way, because the wave beam allows us to reopen that gate, and we can grab a bunch of neat power-ups. And back over here. Freeze. See, this is why at some point, sometimes it's nice to turn the freeze beam back off, because it just kind of saves you that extra shot. Yes, I am that lazy that I don't want to press a button twice. It happens. Don't judge me. Okay. Let's do that. Let's get that on the way back down. We won't get it at all. Okay. Deciding on a plan of action here. Haven't seen this area in a little while. It's kind of nice to be back, I think. We're a lot stronger than we were, so that's nice. And we can open this door, also nice. Doesn't really matter where you place the power bomb in connection with the door, as long as it's... they do have a range that is about the size of the circle you see on screen. A little further, maybe. So about the screen you're looking at. But as far as the doors go, as long as that touches, you're fine. As you can see, you need the wave beam to open this thing up. And that grants you access to the other side. We're gonna break on through. Grab us an energy tank. Huzzah! Quick sweep of the room here. Make sure. Can't be too careful. Oh, looks like we have to take this whole family out before we are able to go through. Okay, there's a couple of power-ups over here. You could use the thing to get across, but we don't need to. And then, where is that other spot? Oh, yes, okay. And, oh, I know you're here somewhere. Oh, yeah. Okay, right there. That would be one of those spots that doesn't really look like you can actually go through it, but the edge of the block was away. And we'll bomb that, and look at that. Just a fun little optional sort of loop to go through here, and it looks like our way out is down there. Oh yeah. It's like, how am I going to get up there? I'm going to have to time a bomb jump. Nope. Collapsible floor drops us back. Let's do... Oh yeah. Now at least we can freeze these things, even if we still can't defeat them. Oh! Oh no! I forgot. Or did I? That those are speed boost blocks that we identified way back in the program. Well, now we're stuck down here. We can try wall jumping out. But it's already closed over top our heads. It closes pretty quickly, as a matter of fact. Oh boy. Well. Nope. Are you... Nope, can't shoot it. Runs off. Oh. This is the first of our 2 sets of secret animal friends. Guarding an egg. Can't really do anything about it. And if you go back through here, there's an energy recharge station, and I will demonstrate why in a moment. This bird thing is here to teach you of a little known trick. It starts running, and you can keep up with it. You can only keep up if you have the boots, but you only got down here if you have the boots. And then you'll notice it kind of drops into a crouch and then takes off into the air. And drops back down. So let's try that. Oh. Wow. That is called the Shine Spark. Run until you hit the super speed, and then you drop to the crouch and hit jump. You're able to move around for a bit, and the effect does wear off eventually, but as soon as you jump, you'll go straight up until you hit a solid object. It consumes quite a lot of energy. You might have noticed that my energy drops rapidly as I'm in that mode, and thus the energy recharge station for if you are trying this trick and you mess it up. You can also shine spark in different directions. You can go forward and diagonals, I do believe, like to the up and left, up right. And this is one of the keys to sequence breaking. If you get the boots earlier and then you use that to get around. However, even though we still have a bit left to do down here, and before we make our way back up to our ship and then over to the wrecked ship, I think it's about time to call it a video, so I'm going to pop onto the save point here. I will say thank you once again for watching, and we'll see you next mission.